Hey everyone, how's it going? Matthew Kadish here, author of the Earthman Jack Space Saga, and today we're going to be taking a look at our first official glance at the wonder that is going to be the Witcher TV series, an original series on Netflix based off of the classic Witcher novels. And I am really excited about this because I'm a fan of the Witcher books, I'm a fan of the video games, and I'm a fan in general. And when I heard that Netflix was going to be adapting the material into an original series, I was super hyped about it. And we haven't gotten anything on the Witcher front for quite a long time, but now we get our first official trailer, and we're going to watch it right now, and then we're going to unpack a lot of it and talk about what we can expect from the show. So here we go.
I remember hearing stories about witches. Is it true what they say?
Elves are the original sorcerers of the continent. When humans and monsters arrived, elves taught humans how to turn chaos into magic. And then the humans slaughtered them.
Chaos is the most dangerous thing in this world. But without control, chaos will kill you.
So that's all life is to you? Monsters and money?
It's all it needs to be.
Something out there waits for you.
This child will be extraordinary.
Yennefer, imagine the most powerful woman in the world. Do you have what it takes?
I've got her here. She's why they came. You can't outrun destiny just because you're terrified of it. It's coming. Find Guild of Rivia.
I can't do this without you.
No matter what you choose, you'll come out bloody.
All right, so that was the trailer for the upcoming Witcher series. It was, I think it looked great, personally. Like, I can't wait for this. But there is some controversy surrounding the show, especially because it's got such a rabid fan base based, just from the video games. But we're going to really kind of dig down into this. First, I just want to say that Henry Cavill looks great. When he was originally cast, they kind of released this preliminary screen test of him and, with the Geralt hair and stuff like that. And he got a lot of criticism because he looked a little bit goofy in it. But they've obviously refined his look, and I think he looks very close to the Geralt that everyone kind of pictures in their heads. He doesn't have the beard or the scar or anything like that yet. But we got to keep in mind that this is the first of many seasons to come. So they're kind of starting off with people a little bit younger, a little bit different looking than what we might expect from them based off of The Witcher 3. But the head writer and the executive producer on this show is a woman named Lauren Schmidt Hissrich. And basically, she's got a little bit of a pedigree, especially with genre TV shows. So she wrote and produced episodes of Netflix's Daredevil, The Defenders, which was the big team up between all the Netflix Marvel characters. And most recently, she was also behind the Umbrella Academy on Netflix, which was an adaptation of a comic book as well. So she's got some genre chops to her, and but she's done some stuff that has kind of angered some of the fans in terms of this adaptation, and I want to get kind of into that and talk about what's actually going on there. So basically, before I get into that, though, I just want to say that one of the interesting facts I learned when I was researching this was that Henry Cavill actually got into the best physical shape he's ever gotten into for this role. So like, when he was Superman, he didn't get into this good a shape as he got into for Geralt. In fact, I think if we can, there's like a shot of him shirtless at a certain point. I don't know where that is, but you can really see like just how like ripped he got for this role, and it is pretty crazy. Just like the physique that this guy, I mean, like he's probably dying for a cheeseburger by this point, in terms of what he's trying to do with his diet and his body and stuff. Anyway, I can't find it on here, but basically he actually hired a award-winning competitive bodybuilder by the name of Dave Rinzi to help him get the Witcher body, which we all saw in the trailer. So Cavill has really committed to this role. Like he really gets into it. And for those of you who don't know, the Witcher, it's kind of like a person who is accustomed to using magic in order to augment themselves to have the ability to fight monsters. And that's kind of the basis of what The Witcher is. And it was a series of short stories that morphed into novels and were eventually adapted into very popular video games. And a lot of people who are coming at The Witcher original series are coming at it from the point of view of video game fans. And so a lot of the criticism that's been leveled here are about the differences between the TV show and the video games. So, for instance, things like the badge that The Witcher wears, that Geralt wears. Let's see, so see that necklace that he's wearing. That's a very different design than the one that we see in the video games. And there are other differences like the armor of the different factions and things of that nature that the show has changed. And people are like, why didn't you just use the stuff from the video games? Well, the thing is that the video games have a different license on the material than the TV show does. So all the stuff that was developed for the video games was developed by the video game company CD Projekt Red. And they came up with the designs for a lot of the stuff that all people associate with The Witcher. And so in order for the TV show to use that stuff, they would need to then license the rights to it from CD Projekt Red. And it's just cheaper for them to go ahead and design their own unique original stuff as opposed to, getting the stuff from the video game. So that's why you're seeing a lot of these smaller changes in the look and design of the Witcher world for the Netflix series, is because the stuff that CD Projekt Red made for their video games is separate from the license that these guys are working off of. And so unless they want to pay CD Projekt Red a lot of money, which they don't, they have to use their own designs for a lot of this stuff. So that's one of the reasons why the Nilfgaard armor is different from what a lot of people expected. And I'll see if I can find that shot where we get to see the Nilfgaardian stuff really well. There was like a big battle scene in here. I don't know. Can't find it. But if you guys watch the trailer, you'll definitely see it. But there's been a lot of outcry about how bad the armor looks in the show. And that's just because it's different from... Okay, here we go. Yeah, that's just because it's different from what people have seen in the games. I had the same problem when I first started watching Game of Thrones, where I didn't think that the armor was very accurate from the books. But, this is stuff, it'll change over time and people will get used to it and it won't matter. So I think the armor looks perfectly fine. I'm not a real stickler for that type of stuff. But, some people are. But that's the reasons why it's different, is like they don't have the same license that CD Projekt Red has. Their license comes from the books. But probably the biggest controversy that was surrounding the Witcher TV series, and that Lauren Schmidt-Hissrich was kind of embroiled in from the start, was that there was a casting announcement that went out for this show. And the casting announcement was specifically for the characters of Ciri and Triss Marigold. And it basically called for women of color to be included in the casting process for these two characters. And that created a lot of backlash among fans because basically, for various reasons, people view these characters as being white. And they thought that changing up the race of these characters would overcomplicate things, because I don't want to lay out any spoilers here, but there are certain reasons why these characters are the race that they are in the show. And so this quote-unquote inclusive casting announcement kind of set off alarm bells for people who thought that they were just trying to kind of shoehorn some diversity into the casting process, even if it didn't make any sense for the characters. And so Hissrich was labeled a social justice warrior for doing so, and it really kind of turned a lot of people sour on this adaptation of The Witcher, making them think that it was it's going to be mired in politics and political messaging and stuff like that. And, to Hissrich's credit, she came out and she basically said, like, look, it wasn't that we weren't planning on casting, someone who, like, racially fits in with this world that we're creating. It's that we didn't want to limit ourselves in seeing actors who might be good for certain roles, regardless of skin color. And it wasn't about, casting for inclusion purposes. It was about for casting who was right. And, having been through a casting process myself when I was making my own movies in Hollywood, it is hard to limit yourself when you're in the casting process. Like, you want to see as many people as possible, because even though, like, you might see, a bunch of actors for a certain role, they might not be right for the role that you're seeing them for, but they might be right for a different role. So basically, with Hissrich's strategy here, she just said, hey, don't limit us in who you're sending, to the casting directors. Don't limit in who you're sending to us for these roles. We want to see everyone, regardless of their skin color. And maybe we might stumble onto actors that we like that would be good for other roles in this show. And so that was kind of like her reasoning behind it. So I don't see it as an SJW thing. I don't see it as a political motivation. I just see it as like they wanted to cast the widest net possible to find the most talented actors they possibly could for the show. And it looks like, by and large, the casting for this show is pretty spot on. Like they seem to have done a pretty good job based off of what I can tell just from this trailer. And Henry Cavill was a perfect decision to get him to be Geralt. Like, even his voice, like, he's done something with his voice where it's like gruffer than it normally is, and it sounds more like The Witcher that we all know and love. So there's that. And the other big criticism that I've been hearing is that it looks too much like Game of Thrones. I think it's just because it's a grim, dark fantasy thing that people are saying that. It does have the kind of look of The Witcher, and I think that people might just be conflating that because it's like a medieval style of fantasy thing. But the cool thing about the Witcher stories has always been that they are political. They're political in nature. A lot of the short stories that author and Andrzej Sapkowski Andrzej Sapkowski wrote often have like some type of noble or some type of powerful person seeking help from Geralt in order to kill a monster of some type. And through that, Geralt gets embroiled in all this political intrigue that's going on in the lands. And, a big part of The Witcher are these warring factions that he's kind of caught in between. And one of the interesting things about this show is supposedly there is no big bad. There is no kind of main bad guy for Geralt to fight against. And I believe Hissrich has come out and said that the bad guys are the monsters. But the question becomes, it's like, who is the real monster? Are the monsters the bad guys, or are the human monsters the bad guys? So basically, we're going to be having a lot of different people kind of jockeying for position in this show. And Geralt is, I believe, just kind of going to be caught up in between all these guys and have to juggle those. And that was one of the things that always made him such an interesting character to follow in the Witcher stories. And something else to note for those people who might still be worried about, how faithful the series is going to be, the book's author, Andrzej Sapkowski, is involved in the show. He's on the creative team. And so he's there to kind of keep them honest. And if you know anything about Sapkowski, he's a bit of a hard-nosed guy. He doesn't take a lot of BS, and he's not afraid to kind of speak his mind. So I think that him being included in the show's creative team definitely is going to kind of stomp down some of those more SJW political influences that people are worried are seeping into the show. But overall, I'm liking what I'm seeing here. I think this is going to be a really great series, a really great adaptation. I'm very excited to see what they take from the books and how they bring it to life. The Witcher is going to be 8 episodes long. It's going to be on Netflix. I don't know if we have a release date yet, but hopefully it's soon. And I'm looking forward to it. What are you guys thinking about this show? Are you looking forward to it? Are you worried about it? What are your concerns? What are your hopes and dreams? Let me know in the comments section. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel for more entertainment news and analysis. This is Matthew Kadish. I will catch you guys later.